When I was pregnant, I imagined going on walks with my dog and baby, and I pictured how fun it was going to be. Then I went on my first walk, and I was quickly humbled. Real life was a lot more stressful than I had imagined. I've now gone on over 50 solo dog and baby walks, and I've learned a lot. As both a dog trainer and a new mom, I want to share the tips and tricks that have made dog and baby walks so much more enjoyable, including 2 tips that Emma kindly reminded me about while I was filming this.
In this video, I want to share all the lessons I've learned broken down into 3 sections: dog tips, baby tips, and important reminders. Let's dive into dog tips first. Tip 1 is to train your dog to respond to verbal cues. One of the biggest challenges if you're walking with a dog and a baby is that it's much harder to physically intervene if you need to. Therefore, it's essential that your dog reliably responds to verbal cues.
Yeah, leave it. Yes.
So that you can keep everyone safe. The magpies in my neighborhood often go into trash bins and they drop items that I don't want my dog to have. So there's been 2 cues in particular that have been invaluable on walks. The first is leave it.
Yes.
This tells your dog to stop pursuing something that they're interested in.
Nira, leave it.
That could be a sidewalk snack or an animal that they want to chase.
Yes.
I'll link 3 tutorials that I have for teaching leave it in the video description and comments, including beginner level leave it training, advanced leave it training so that the cue works on walks, and how to use the leave it cue to stop animal chasing. I've used the leave it cue on almost every dog and baby walk that I've gone on, so I do strongly encourage teaching it reliably. I also suggest training a drop it cue, which means let go of whatever's in your mouth. This cue is used when your dog grabs something that they shouldn't have, including trash or other dangerous items. The drop it cue has been a lifesaver for my dog. Tip 2 is to train your dog to stay on one side of the stroller. One common issue that I was warned about is how frustrating it is if your dog zigzags in front of your stroller. I avoided this by teaching my dog to only walk on the right side of the stroller. To train this, I started rewarding Nira when she was walking on the right side. Once I'd built a reinforcement history for that, I started throwing a treat onto the ground on the right side if she ever crossed in front of me. This encouraged her back into the desired position where I could again reward her for staying where I wanted her. Once she got the hang of that, I added the stroller into the training and I repeated this process. It has made our walks so much less stressful. Tip 3 is to consider a hands-free leash. I strongly recommend against tying your dog's leash to the stroller because it's a safety hazard if your dog suddenly takes off. Instead, I use a hands-free leash that attaches to me. This way, even if you need to tend to your baby with both hands, your dog is still safely tethered to you. I personally use and recommend a biothane leash because it's lightweight, durable, and easy to clean. Tip 4 is to teach your dog to untangle their own leash. Nothing frustrates me more than untangling a leash, especially if you're also managing a stroller or a baby carrier. Luckily, it's easy to teach your dog to untangle themselves. Start by getting your dog to lift their leg when they feel the leash underneath it. Put the leash close to their paw and then wiggle it until they lift their leg and free the leash. Reward them for doing so. As your dog gets better and better at this, practice the leash higher and higher up their leg, then in a standing position, then with the back legs. By adding a verbal cue like fix your leash, you can ask your dog to untangle themselves on walks. This is a simple skill to teach and it'll save you a lot of frustration on walks.
Fix. Yes. Good.
If you're enjoying this video, I would really appreciate if you hit like and left a comment to let me know. Tip 5 is to consider leash-free walks. Even when your dog is well trained, managing them and a baby can be overwhelming at times, especially in a busy city. Off-leash adventures allow your dog to run around and burn off more energy without you needing to deal with a leash. I used to frequent dog parks with my dog, but I hesitated after having bad experiences with aggressive dogs and wildlife. When I was pregnant, I started taking my dog to sniff spots instead. Sniff spots are rentable, typically fenced areas that you can have all to yourself. I find it enjoyable to grab a coffee, put the baby in the carrier, and let my dog run around without me needing to stress about anything. Tip 6 is to improve leash skills. Particularly if you live in a large city like I do, you will encounter many people and dogs on your walks. Training calm behaviors and the ability to walk right past distractions without leash tension makes walks vastly more enjoyable. I'll link a step-by-step tutorial for how I train that skill in the caption and comments. I also want to mention that I have a 6-week step-by-step leash training program that I encourage you to check out. It explains everything that you need to know for amazing walks. A large portion of the training can even be done at home while your baby naps. If you want to check it out, the guide is linked in the video description and comments. Now let's move on to some quick baby tips to make walks more enjoyable. Tip 7 is try different carrying methods. Every baby is different, so I would encourage you to go out a few times without your dog to test out different carry methods and see what your baby prefers. Knowing which method is likely to keep your baby happy helps minimize stress when you have both the dog and baby with you. Tip 8 is to factor in your baby's warmth.
This one might seem obvious, but it seems to be one that I'm perpetually learning. If you're using a baby carrier, your body heat will combine. I'm always worried about Emma getting cold, so I have a tendency of accidentally overdressing her.
If your baby is perpetually grumpy on walks, they might just be too hot. Tip 9 is that motion is your friend.
I have a good little fitness trainer on dog walks now because if I stop walking, I get screamed at.
Babies often love constant movement, which can feel tricky if your dog stops for a sniff or a bathroom break. During one of my first walks, I actually caught myself telling my dog to poop faster because I didn't want the baby to cry. Once I realized that pushing the stroller back and forth or doing stationary bounces in the carrier kept Emma happy while Nira took her breaks, walks got way less stressful. Tip 10 is to bring 2 soothers. If your baby uses a soother, bring 2 on every walk. I've learned the hard way that even if you think it's safe, the soother will fall out at some point.
If you have a soother baby like I do, this would have been a disaster, but always bring a spare.
And lastly, I want to give you 2 important reminders. Tip 11 is to consider safety. I had a scary experience when an off-leash German Shepherd charged my dog, baby, and I. Luckily, the dog's guardian came running and he grabbed it while it circled us, but it made me realize how much I would have struggled to keep my dog and baby safe. Since then, I've carried 2 levels of deterrence in case I ever need to intervene. The first is a can of pet corrector, which makes a startling noise, and if that doesn't work, I also have a small can of pepper spray. I will link both items below. And tip 12 is to recognize that things have changed. If you're used to enjoying peaceful walks with just your dog, it can feel disappointing when walks now feel stressful with the addition of a baby.
Honestly, it is incredibly stressful. But then, 5 minutes later and everything's okay and I no longer also feel like crying.
I'm not gonna lie, I found walks really stressful at first. Rather than listening to music and zoning out on walks like I used to, I instead found myself on edge, wondering when the baby was gonna start crying, and I even found myself frustrated at little things that my dog did. But please remember that this is quite normal during the postpartum phase. You're sleep deprived, you have wild hormones, and you're adjusting to a new normal. One thing that really helped me during the struggle phase was going for at least 1 walk a week with just my dog. It allowed me to relax, listen to music, and clear my head. The good news is that it does get better. By the time my baby was 3 months old, I was back to enjoying hikes with both my dog and baby, but it took time and some rough experiences to get there. I promise that over time, you will get used to the new routine and walks can feel enjoyable again. Please let me know in the comments if you have any questions or if there's any tips that you think should be added. I will link both my dog and baby and my leash training playlists here if you want more help. Happy training! I'll see you in the next video.